Hey folks, we're back again for another strategy talk here at Yazo. I'm excited to dive in today's topic with Angie on joint marketing, also known as partner marketing or community marketing. In today's world, it really does take a village. I think that statement hasn't been truer ever than it is in today's world of marketing. And the reason being is that there are so many different channels, there's so many different avenues, call it distractions if you want. But frankly, as consumers, we're extremely overwhelmed. And we really look to what I would call a source of truth when it comes to a purchasing decision. And oftentimes that comes from a third party. A third party could be, a partner. It could be someone that you work with. It's a service provider that's part of your solution. It could be if you sell a product, it could be a partner that's part of your ingredients or someone that assists with your developing your product. A partner could be an influencer, right? We have the whole world of social influencers that are out there. In addition to that, partner and joint marketing really allows us to create an experience. And I think that's something that's really, truly valuable in today's world of marketing. So, Angie, why don't you kick us off a little bit with just, joint marketing, what that means to you or what that means to Yazo. And then I think we can get into a little bit of the nitty gritty of how you can pull off some joint marketing efforts and how there's opportunities or low hanging fruit there for, SMBs.
Yeah, so I'll share basically with the audience some things that I've been doing my entire career. So joint marketing, what's really cool about it is it's been around for 30 plus years. And so when I started my career in marketing, I actually was in charge of finding joint marketing initiatives. And it's just amazing how it's actually coming back. And you can go online and just look it up and you're going to see tons of blogs about this because it's actually becoming everything old is new again, and joint marketing is one of the things that it just happens to work. So I'm going to share some of the things strategically that you're going to see online about it, and then we can talk more, jump back and forth about, how would you get started really. But strategically, joint marketing, partnership marketing is coming around again. There's three really, reasons. One is budgets. In this day and age, people are more mindful of their budgets. Some organizations, especially in specific industries, are being asked to cut their budgets. The second reason is the market you're appealing to, right? And I'll talk a little bit about that. And then the third is the need to really be able to show return on investment. And so, if you're a marketing director and you're looking at, okay, I need to show return on investment now, even more than before, and I have to cut my budget. It's like, okay, that doesn't make sense, right? So really joint marketing also runs the gamut from very small businesses. I'm talking about a single sole proprietor to very large, where you're going to, and Eli mentioned this, what you're going to hear called partnership marketing, which may be very large brands going together, but joint sole proprietorship marketing, which is where I started my career, really comes down to going around your local community, and finding partners that actually appeal to the same market. So when you think about how do I get started in joint marketing, it's, do you appeal to the same market? Okay, so if you have a business that's appealing to 20 to 30-year-old men, what other businesses appeal to 20 to 30-year-old men in your community, right? And then mostly when we talk to businesses about this, or when I've done it myself for companies, you also want to look at, do they have the same value system that you have? And then the other part of this, I know I'm kind of going on and on, but are they willing to get some kind of agreement in place? Because I have seen joint marketing many times go south, where there's a lot of time spent on finding the partnership, a lot of excitement and enthusiasm that the partnership was found. Nothing ever happens because one party does all the work and the other party does nothing because there was no actual agreement. It was a handshake. So I'm not saying that you couldn't have a handshake in a small sole proprietor that does something with someone else. But if you're really going to do a joint marketing fully and have it be effective and have return on investment and have both parties bring the same value to the table, you need to have an agreement in place.
Yeah.
So I love it, Eli, just because you could walk out the door today in a small community and find, a coffee shop at a bookstore that could come together and create some community events or do some lives together, much like we're doing, do email campaigns together. And the last thing I'll say, and then I'll turn it back to Eli, is like in the world of email marketing, for example, if you're going to do a webinar or you're going to do something, joint marketing allows you to bring both your lists to the table, right? Or, to have a stronger presence on social when you're doing lives, and you can share on each other's pages, go live on each other's pages. It's just, there's something about it that allows you to grow your audience in a much faster but effective way versus. And so one of the things I think, Eli, you'll probably touch on, but like getting into also when you do that agreement, if you think, oh wow, this business could be a great joint marketing partner, but you go online and they have like 5 followers on their Facebook page or whatever, they might not be the best. So there's a vetting that goes along with it, right? Like they might not be your best. They look great on paper, but you have to go out and see, are they actually doing any marketing currently? Otherwise, you're going to be the heavy lifter. And maybe you're okay with that because they have a great personality or something that you feel they're bringing to the table. But you need to know in your mind, I vetted them, and do they have an audience? Are they engaged? All of that. So.
And I think that's usually a big part of the conversation of where we start is, what is the definition of a partner? A lot of folks, we oftentimes have analysis paralysis, right? So joint marketing usually doesn't get off the block because there's either concern around, is it the right partner? What partner should I select? So that vetting process or establishing that partner persona up front really allows you to drill into what partner makes sense for whatever your opportunity or initiative is. And a partner, again, just to sort of circle back, can be made up of someone that you work directly with. It maybe is a partner from a service perspective or a product perspective, or to your point, Angie, it could be just a complementary product that serves the same audience. Therefore, there's benefits there to, speaking together, bringing your audience together. And then when you find that partner, right, putting the agreement in place really, truly is important. And there's different levels of agreement. So I don't want anybody to get caught off or fall down this path of, well, I can't get an agreement in place because I don't have a lawyer and all this. It doesn't necessarily need to be a formalized agreement. Yes, there are agreements that are like that, have the KPIs and metrics and built in, and this partner does this and this partner's responsible for that, and here's the expected outcome and what happens if we don't get there. But agreement can also be as simple as, what is the outcome, who is involved, right, who are the parties that are involved, and then what are the expected roles. And it can be as simple as that. That way we just have an understanding of who's bringing what to the table. To your point on the list perspective or the followers perspective, do they have a large enough audience, or is it more on your end to bring the audience to the table, or is it vice versa? And then what is the expected outcome? What is the call to action at the end? Is there a joint follow-up, or who takes on the follow-up, right? So those are all sort of conversations that need to be had up front, so there's not a misalignment on perceived value. So that's kind of like the strategy piece, right? But once you've found the partner, you've got a little bit of an agreement or a structure in place around how you're going to handle the joint marketing opportunity, to be able to push forward. To your point, the sky's the limit once you've found the right partner, because you've created an opportunity to really have an experience. And that partner could either be maybe an influencer, so you can create an opportunity where they're talking about your product or service, how it's valuable to them, or what the use case could be. And it ultimately goes back to a single source of truth, or not necessarily a single source of truth, but truth that's not necessarily you feeding it to the audience. It's someone else speaking on your behalf about the product or service that allows the audience to put themselves in those shoes and say, oh, wow, there really is value. I can see myself in that area. And having someone else talk about your product, talk about your service, creates an opportunity for real, true conversation. And it doesn't feel so salesy, right? So that it becomes an opportunity to have natural dialogue that usually uncovers things that oftentimes don't come out in sales process because you're so focused on drilling into the values, the benefits of what the product or service can provide to your audience. Whereas when we have these conversations, it really is truly talking about, what's happening, what's the value, and there's just natural conversation there. So I think that's the biggest piece, is it allows for more natural dialogue and conversation versus a formal sales structured process. Or when you get into these webinars, oftentimes it feels very monologue-y, right? or dry. When you have someone to help break that up, it's just also more of a fun environment and a fun tone for folks. It's a little bit more receptive.
Yeah. I would say too, like, you're touching on something that, what's fun with joint marketing is you can get creative. So, again, there's partner marketing, there's partnership marketing, there's joint marketing. All of these kind of lumped together. And what we're talking about today, which is, thinking outside of the box in terms of this type of marketing. But if you're talking about joint marketing, and you could do something as simple as, let's say you're two boutiques and you're similar but not exactly the same, and someone comes into one boutique, you can assume that they're going to like that kind of thing, and you can give them a card. And this is one of the things that I was researching some of the most effective ones in today's world, and it's so simple, but this was one of them. Like, you each make a card. That card has a QR code. It goes to you, introducing your boutique and offering like a 20% discount for anyone that comes in with it. And so it's like a QR code that goes to you doing a video showing your boutique. The other boutique gives it. You both give each other's card out. So you say you're checking out, and you say, oh, if you like my stuff, you're probably going to like my partners. And you hand them the card. And it really actually drives traffic much more than some of the other things you may be paying for, right? So, but one of the things I wanted to share that you reminded me of, Eli, is when I was reading some of the most recent blogs, one of the biggest things they say is start small, because the mistake happens where people get super excited about a relationship, and they say off the bat, like, we're going to do this major conference together.
Yep.
And then it flops, and then they say joint marketing doesn't work. Start small. Start with an email campaign together. Start with a live on Facebook or LinkedIn together. And then build from there. Because when you jump in, like, with this major thing and it fails, there's a sense of it does not work. And we see this in marketing all the time. Well, that doesn't work. And I like, how many times did you do it? Once. Because it's like so disappointing, because you put so much time and effort into this huge conference together and it didn't work. Yeah. Start small.
And the benefit of that too is the metrics and the data, and you learn when you start small is what's landing. And it truly, when it comes to joint marketing, it is a process. You really need to fine tune what works for both parties.
Yeah.
What value is most beneficial to both parties, and ultimately what messages received or receptive to your audience. And those things aren't usually determined in one try. There's trial and error, but you've got to embrace that process. And to your point, and we say it all the time, and one of our clients probably coined the term, it's land and expand, right? Like, you've got to get somewhere, understand what's happening, and then expand from there. Don't try to bite off more than you can chew, right? And that's usually where folks also, when we talk about joint marketing, get excited. They get started, and then there's that fear aspect that comes in, right? And they just like, oh, well, wait, that seems like it's a little bit too much. Okay, well, let's narrow the approach a little bit. What opportunities do we have to do some things together, to test some messaging, to test some, opportunities of joint marketing or partner marketing together? So I think, from a takeaway from today's topic is to look at where you're at in your current marketing. If you're a business owner, if you're a small, medium-sized business, or if you're a mid-market, or even if you're looking for some fresh ideas from an enterprise level, let's revisit your partner list. Do you have opportunities to re-engage some of those partners or find new partners in areas that you haven't really thought about?
Right.
Are there influencers out there that may be in the space? It's not necessarily a true partner, but they can speak about your product and they have the audience that you want to tap into.
Right.
And yes, some of those are paid engagements, right? But there's also engagements that aren't paid. So I really think it's just an opportunity to revisit your partner list? Are there internal champions at your business? Are there folks that you work with? Is it, even looking at the perspective of who assists you in your business, right? Are there, when we talk about it from the perspective of like small to medium-sized businesses, who's your accountant, right? And this sounds crazy to me, but it even just popped into my head of, you go to someone that helps you with your business and talk about what you guys have done together and what audience is out there, because oftentimes they're probably serving similar audiences and they just have the ability to put you in a space that gives you the room and the opportunity to talk to those folks. And that's really what marketing is it's the opportunity to get your message in front of someone. But really, that's the hard part, right? Is getting it in front of the right audience for them to digest it. And that's usually what we're striving for, is how do we find the right channel with the right message at the right time for someone to say, oh, that's me, let's do that. Or I'd like that product, or I want to use that service. And that's really what marketing is. And I think that's the benefit of doing it with a partner sometimes, is you have those conversations or opportunities are uncovered that you just usually don't think about because you get in your own way.
Yeah. Well, I know we're over the 15-minute mark already.
Yeah. So this is obviously, it's a fun topic. But folks, if you're listening, reach out to us. I'm going to let Angie give us some takeaways so we can wrap up. But if you guys have thoughts or comments, or if you even just want to schedule a strategy discussion around joint marketing and how that can work for your business, reach out to us. We would love to help facilitate some of those discussions internally for you. But Angie, leave us with some takeaways.
My only takeaway is don't always say no. So one of the things I've been hearing a lot, and we are very guilty of it at Yazoo, is, well, I get requests for that kind of stuff all the time on LinkedIn or whatever, and I'm never going to do it. I think that we are so guilty in business of saying no when we could have met someone that would change our world. And so one of my goals for this year was to stop saying no all the time to demos and discussions and things, because you don't know what God might have just sent your way, this person that was going to rock your business out, and you said no because you're like, this is just another person bothering me on Messenger or on LinkedIn. So my goal with with myself and for you is don't always say no. Put time in your calendar to vet partners and joint marketing opportunities, because it could take your business to the next level with very little budget.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the biggest piece too of, revisiting is there's not always the quick answer of no, or the fear of, well, we don't know what we don't know. Why not give it a shot, right? And I think that's the biggest piece. And that's ultimately one of the hardest parts of starting joint marketing, is giving it time and going in with an open mind. So we'll leave it with that. As always, if you guys have topics, questions, future discussions that you want us to hone in on, let us know, drop us a comment. But we appreciate you giving us a couple minutes of your day. Hopefully it was valuable to you. And as always, dive on in with us. We appreciate you. Have a great Thursday, everybody. Take care.